All right, welcome back, fellow Shopify entrepreneurs. It's a new month. It is May 1st already, and as we do every month on this channel, we're going to go through last month's Shopify changelog so that we can maintain our competitive advantage with all our Shopify businesses, all our small businesses, and we can come together once a month as a great community. Good to see everyone again. I hope everyone's Shopify stores are going well. These are the changes coming this month. I really love the start of each month. I really do, because we can all come together as a community and I can see how much you guys like these videos. And if you guys like them, I'll keep doing them because I truly believe continuing to learn about the Shopify platform, continuing to be ahead of the game and ahead of the competition is so impactful and so important with your online brands and your online businesses in so many ways. It helps brainstorm new ideas. It helps keep you ahead of your competition. And it really just brings together fellow Shopify entrepreneurs that are going through the grind with you. You know, we see so many YouTube videos and so many articles online of how easy making passive income is or how easy it is running a business. And we know as Shopify entrepreneurs and small business owners, that is completely not true. It's very hard and there's such a grind to it. But with a community of like-minded people who are all trying to chase the same dream and know exactly how you're feeling, we can all come together in this once a month series that I run on this channel, where we can all come together and improve together. This month, we have a medium amount of updates and nothing too flashy. We have a broad range of topics except one. There's something in here. I was just scrolling through. I don't know if you saw that. Hasn't been talked about in months. I do this video series once a month, as I said. And there's a topic in here that I haven't seen covered or updated in months and months and months. I don't remember the last time it was updated. So we can't wait to get to that. That's very important and very impactful for a lot of people, and anybody can use it. So we will start here at the bottom. We're going to change our color like we always do to green, because green is the official color of May. Green and yellow. Spring has arrived. Can you believe it's already May? It was just New Year's. The last time we left off here at the end of March with some new features, and we're going to continue up this way and we're going to go through April together. So sit back and relax and let's do this thing. Starting first on April 2nd. This is for the collective feature on Shopify. It says set collective imported products to active within the collective app. For collective retailers, you can now set up to 30 imported products to active right within the collective connection. So this is just a small little update, but it also brings us attention to what the Shopify Collective app is. The update, or the improvement, I should say, that Shopify has implemented here is that for collective retailers, they now have the ability to set imported products to active right from the collective connection instead of using the imported product status on the core products page as we all have. And that's just a small little update there. But essentially, if you haven't heard, Collective is Shopify's app where anybody can be the retailer, as we see here, the retailer or the seller for another Shopify store. So if you have a Shopify store and you want to sell your products, you can become the supplier for another Shopify store who sells your products. And you can make this partnership within Shopify called Collective. Anybody can really be a retailer and anybody can really be a supplier. And this is how essentially all this works. Oh, this is an interesting conversation topic, even if you don't use it. So this is a new feature. We love always seeing the new yellow icons, and this is for Markets, specifically for Markets Pro. So it says undeliverable plus return to sender charges. So there's an update here. It says merchants will be responsible for carrier imposed undeliverable charges incurred on Markets Pro's labels. So Markets Pro is a feature on Shopify that is one step above Markets. So you have Markets that everybody has in their settings, and then one step above this is a feature called Markets Pro. If you do a lot of international selling and you need help with international selling things like shipping and taxes and duties and everything that goes into international selling that makes it very complicated, Shopify offers this Markets Pro feature, which charges a little bit extra transaction fee per order, but helps you with all of these extremely complicated markets and international shipping issues. So they've added a new feature here for Markets Pro for undeliverable and return to sender charges. So you can pause it here if you'd like. We have a little TLDR, stands for too long didn't read, where it says Shopify released undeliverable state adjustments for Markets Pro labels, and merchants will see adjustments for undeliverable charges in their payouts moving forward, with details available in the order timeline events. So the payouts, obviously, moving forward is where you get your money, and the order timeline is at the bottom of the product page where you see all the updates and payment information for that order. But what this update is saying is that sometimes When you send a package to someone in e-commerce or mail at all, this package can be returned back to you. And that can be returned back to you for all of these reasons here. This is common just in mailing, but also in e-commerce, you have to deal with this. However, when the post office or the courier sends it back to you, somebody has to pay for that postage. And so if the sender, the merchant, sends it and it is returned back by the post office, and you want that item back, when you go to pick it up, they're going to charge you return postage because it doesn't just come back for free. There's postage that needs to be paid. So what Shopify is saying here is that when there is an issue and it's returned to sender for whatever reason, you will see that the return to sender fee and the undeliverable charges will be in your payouts, included in your payouts moving forward. We are sticking with the markets conversation here on April 5th. Where it says duties and import taxes for preferential treaty. You can now toggle whether duties and import tax calculations apply to preferential treaties. So a few months ago, this was introduced. This kind of has to do with markets as well. But essentially, when you're selling international, there are many different countries who have partnerships to facilitate better e-commerce all over the world. Free trade agreements right here. Free trade agreements. If you live in North America, there's agreements between Canada, America, and Mexico. If you live in Europe, there's all kinds of agreements between European countries, and these are called preferential treaties. And these are, again, to facilitate commerce between these countries that are really close by to help each other out. And they usually include better deals, better duties, better import taxes, and stuff like that to spur economic growth. Back in the day in Shopify, not too long ago, only a few months ago, they introduced this preferential treaty option. And so now it looks like they're saying we've added the ability to toggle whether preferential treaties are used in your duty and import tax calculations at checkout. Obviously, this is very specific to the business and to the specific products that you're selling. And so I guess they have found that some people don't want this, or they don't need it, or they don't benefit from this. And so now they've added the ability to toggle this on and off. So if you are unable to meet the requirements of the preferential treaty, then you can disable it, toggle it off, and then this will fall back to what the rule was before, which is the most favored country's duty rate. See, that's an interesting one. See, even if you're just starting out, you're just a new Shopify entrepreneur, and you're just a beginner, and you don't sell internationally or to markets, or you have any issues with duties at all, you can still learn how this stuff works. So maybe one day when you grow and you scale up, you're fully prepared. So learning about these is extremely important. That's why I do these video series every single month. So subscribe if you're having a great time. Moving on to April 10th, we start to see a lot of these. There's a lot of improvements this month to mobile, and that's usually how these changelogs go. The developers seem to really focus on an area for that month, and we see a lot of information, a lot of updates and improvements for a specific area. And this month, there's a lot to do with mobile. So let's learn about mobile. So it says here, easier collection edits from the Shopify mobile app. That's what we're talking about when we say mobile. When you log onto your computer and you log into the Shopify admin, that's the admin. But Shopify also has an app. They have a Shopify mobile app for your phone where you can control a lot of things about your business if you're not on your computer. Anytime it says mobile and Shopify app, that's what it's talking about. So it says the collection details flow in the Shopify app have been updated to improve consistency between products and collections. You can now view, create, and edit a collection from a single screen. Essentially, all we're seeing here, I just turned down the green a little bit. It was much too green. It was hurting my eyes. So on the Shopify mobile app, they've just made a little improvement here to reduce the number of taps it takes to create or edit a collection by utilizing similar subscreens, saving behavior as products. So this is just a little update when you're creating collections and the consistency between the relationship between the products tab and the collections detail screen on the mobile app. Again here, so we see like a grouping on April 10th of some improvements made to the mobile app. So the second one here says customer notes and tags can now be added from Shopify app on iOS specifically. So this is a Shopify mobile app update, but for iOS specifically. So you can now add customer flow in the Shopify app, has been updated to improve consistency between iOS and Android. You can now add notes and tags on iOS and search for and sort customer tags. So a little improvement there, very specific. If you're using the Shopify app and you're on iOS, little improvement there. And then once again here on April 10th, we have updated the long press behavior on lists in the Shopify app. The Shopify app has updated long press for bulk actions behavior on list screens on both iOS and Android. So anybody who's using the Shopify app, this one will be relevant to you. So on the Shopify mobile app, they've improved the long press features. When you're on your mobile app and you hold down the button, it's called a long press. And when you long press for bulk actions, you can now it is now easier to perform actions on multiple item lists at once from the Shopify mobile app, like the abandoned checkout index, the collection index, the customer address list, and the customer segment index now have consistent long press behavior to orders and products. All right, doing good. We're moving right along. And now we've come to the little teaser I mentioned earlier. And this is on April 11th. And the thing that I was talking about that I haven't seen in months and months and months and months and maybe a year is this app here called Shopify Forms. I love Shopify Forms. Obviously, it's a very simple app and we'll get to what it does in a second, but there is a little feature update here and a couple of mentions of Shopify Forms. I've always used Shopify Forms. I think it's heavily underutilized and it's very powerful because it is about collecting your customer's email, and that is extremely important in e-commerce. So the update here says redirect to URL after a form submission in Shopify Forms. What a good idea. Redirect customers to another page after they successfully submit a form. So before we move on, Shopify Forms is a Shopify made and developed app, like all their other Shopify made and developed app. It's a free app that helps you make a form essentially. You know, when you log on to a website and you have their website here and then you're scrolling for a second and then a big form pops up. It's like, let's be friends or 10% off or put your email in or get our free book or anything. Just put your email in here. That's a form. And that's what Shopify Form does. Obviously, whenever you're doing email marketing or anything like that, or whatever app you're using for email marketing, these pop-ups and these forms are kind of built in, and then you can have so many different kinds. Like if you ever open a site and there's a giant spin the wheel icon like this, and you know, you spin the wheel and it lands on, you know, the same thing every time. It just looks a little bit different. That's another way of not using Shopify Forms, but just another app that does that. And the goal is to collect customer email addresses for retargeting and remarketing, of course. So this is an excellent update, and it's available to anyone who wants to use the Shopify Forms app. And so look at this. So it says you can now direct customers to a specific page after they've successfully submitted the form. This could be another page on your shop, like a product page or a collection, for example, or a page designed as a next step for the form, like expected next steps for B2B contacts or special perks that are only available to email subscribers. The redirect is used instead of success message when a customer submits a form. You can learn more about that in the forms. So this is a very easy thing to implement, because the first thing that popped to my head when this came to mind is when businesses offer like a free ebook or a free brochure or anything like this. But a lot of businesses give you a deal, quote unquote deals, and they say, get our free ebook, get our free brochure. Enter your email here so we can send it to you. And usually this email or this ebook is hidden somewhere on the site anyway. Like if you go to the bottom or the footer, you can usually find it because it's publicly available information that they want to share and they've created to enhance what their brand looks like and the reputation of their brand. So now essentially you can create your form with your invitation, insert your email address here, and we will send you our free ebook. We will send you our free guide, our free get to know us manual, anything like this that is specific to your brand so that you can capture the customer's email, which is most important to you. And then of course, the most important thing to the customer is free things. So they would input their email address here, and then they can now be redirected to the URL of your free ebook or your free brochure. And it's so easy to make these things. You know, if you use Canva or anything like that, you just have to create some content, and graphic design tools like that can take care of looks, make it look professional and on brand for you. But again, this is just such a good update because we haven't heard of Shopify Forms in forever. And it is such a powerful, simple little tool that can look professional for your website with your branded colors and your branded information. And then it can really help you collect high quality email addresses, because we obviously don't want low quality email subscribers, because if you send, it's kind of turning into a rant going to email marketing. But again, if you buy for essentially like an email marketing list contacts and you try sending 10,000 emails to people who hasn't subscribed, they're all going to bounce, and Shopify is going to stop your email marketing batch and it won't go through. So maybe I'll do a video on email marketing best practices and how to avoid Shopify stopping your entire batch of emails being sent. But that is essentially the update here. That I believe is the key update in this month. Moving right along, we're back to the mobile updates here. On April 17th, we're halfway through a month. The customer segments details in the Shopify app now support segment query edits. So we updated customer segment details in the Shopify app to support segment query editing and other editing features. So essentially this is saying is when you have a list of customers from all your orders and all your email subscribers, you have all their data in the customer segment on your admin and in your mobile app. And then one thing you can do is what you should be doing is you should be segmenting these customers into specific details like where they live or what country they're from or what they bought or how many orders they bought or how much their cart values on average were. There's all kinds of things that you can segment your customers by, but essentially there's a little improvement here on the Shopify app that can now help you with your segment queries and edits right on the app. April 18th, we have a new little admin improvement here that this is really straightforward and will affect a lot of businesses. So this is effective on May 15th. So it's May 1st. So you have to wait 14 more days. A maximum value of 2,000 USD or equivalent in global currencies has been added to issued gift cards. This update is a little poorly worded as it says, a maximum value of $2,000 has been added to issued gift cards. And when I first read that, I was like, what? Are they adding more value to already issued gift cards? But it looks like there are some laws when it comes to gift cards. It says this change will help you be compliant with laws that apply to gift cards and help to ensure you do not inadvertently violate them. So it sounds like there were some issues with the legalities of issued gift cards, and so they've added the new maximum value, which will not affect gift cards issued before May 15th. 2024. Just a small update there. We have a few POS ones here, a few POS updates as they always are in the Shopify changelog. So we have a new change here, the default layout update for Smart Grid. So Smart Grid is what you look at when you have a POS device, like you have a tablet and then it just kind of has a bunch of tiles like this. And you can rearrange so much of your POS device to what you need it to look like, much like the admin. But this kind of segment on this side of the tablet is kind of what's called the Smart Grid. So new retail locations will start with a new set of default tiles for the Smart Grid. So it says new retail locations will start with a new set of default tiles for Smart Grid. So when you have a new POS location, when you open it up, it will have a new set of default tiles on your Smart Grid. So it sounds like there's just a little change there. And these updates include a new 5-tile layout featuring the following options: add custom sale, apply discount, ship all items, email to customer, and save as draft orders. Smart Grid tiles are still available to be customized and updated as needed. So that's what you'll see when you set up a new POS location within the POS app. Love that. All right, so we have a new POS update here. This one is actually quite interesting. So it says ship from store POS fulfillment. So now it's easier fulfillment from retail locations. Retail location is a location that is in person and has a POS device. That's what a retail location is. And so they are introducing the new ship from store feature. Ship from store feature showcased at Winter Editions 2024. Hey, I just did a video on Winter 24 editions. Go check that out on my channel. If you don't know, you can look at all the latest and greatest updates on their bi-yearly editions. It's always a lot of fun. I love editions time. But on this update, it says, this new update fulfillment workflow empowers retail staff, in-person retail staff at their in-person store to fulfill online orders assigned to retail locations directly from POS. So it sounds like if you get an online order and it is assigned to the retail in-person locations, the staff can now have this option called ship from store, so they can go grab it off of their shelf, put it in a box, print the label, and ship from store, showcased in Winter Editions 2024. It says previously, when a retail location was chosen as the fulfillment location, retail staff required access to the admin to execute order fulfillment. Now, the new ship from store feature surfaces orders due for shipping in the orders tab, and permission staff, of course, can pick, pack, and ship orders because you can assign specific permissions to each staff and each login. And then, of course, we're also seeing a huge shift. Most of these POS updates is Shopify adding features to the POS system that are available on the admin but are not on the POS yet. So to make it easier for POS and retail locations, physical locations, you don't always want to go back to your computer to access the Shopify admin. So they're adding a lot of features from the admin to the POS device like this. And then it just says to get started with this, you just have to make sure your retail locations are configured to fulfill online orders by toggling that on, editing the order routing if needed, And then once the ship from store settings are configured, the permissioned staff will navigate to an assigned order, tap the prepare for shipping tile, use a barcode scanner or camera to check off the items, print a packing slip, pop that in, purchase a shipping label through Shopify Shipping if that's the way you do your shipping, print your shipping label from your wireless printer, and then if you can't end up fulfilling it, you can reassign the fulfillment to the next best location. Just a little, I think this is just a little hardware plug that Shopify did because, when you're working in retail, you need a lot of hardware, physical technology to run these things like barcode scanners or wireless printers and all these things. So I think this paragraph is just a little bit of, hey, if you need equipment, visit our retail solutions. Okay, April 25th, another POS improvement, but we're talking about discounts here. So it says the buy X, get Y discount codes for Shopify POS. So POS Pro locations can now leverage buy X, get Y discounts on Shopify POS. So the keyword here is POS Pro, because when you have a retail location, there's two options. You can have POS Lite, which I think is included in every plan. Maybe I'm mistaken, but it's just a free thing called POS Lite. And then there's POS Pro, which is an extra, $80, $90, $100 per month for proper POS Pro features. And now, so if you have POS Pro, you can now leverage buy X, get Y discount. The interesting thing about POS locations is that when you have locations, like if you have an in-person store, you usually have multiple locations. And then so if you have multiple locations in the POS, here, let me draw this a little better. In the POS tab, and you go to locations, you'll have your locations assigned like this, and each one. Then on the right, you'll see Lite and Pro, and then a little dot here, dot, and then you enable or disable which locations you want POS Lite and POS Pro by just simply enabling it here. And you can toggle this at any time. It's a monthly thing. So if you are in person for a month for an event, you can select POS Pro just for a month and get that all set up. And if you have multiple POS locations or you're expanding or creating new POS locations, you don't have to pay for more POS Pro locations. You can have one at POS Pro, you can have one at Lite, two at Lites, and you can adjust these at any time. Just something I've learned from my experience, which is fun. But just to conclude on this one, it just says the buy X, get Y discount codes can now be configured on Shopify POS. This new feature enables merchants to enhance in-store selling and promotional strategies and reaches a milestone that allows all admin-defined discounts to now be supported on POS with a little celebration emoji there. Oh, this is also a very interesting one. I love doing these updates because you learn about the Shopify platform, you learn about where it's going, but also it really gets you brainstorming if you are expanding and scaling up on what to do next. So this is a perfect example. I didn't even consider this, but reading this is really interesting. So on April 25th, we have an update. Oh, we're almost at the end of the month, guys. Okay, so it says point of sale device language management. So it says display translated product information within the POS device. This is a new feature on the POS. So what does that mean? We all know shopping online, you can change your language for the way your website looks to different languages for different markets and different customers. Now they've introduced the point of sale device language management. So this turn the POS into a global storefront that empowers staff to enhance every aspect of the selling process by translating key surfaces, enabling staff to closely connect with the merchants. So this is used to better cater to local language of each retail location, providing localized experience for your staff and your customers. Once a specified language is enabled for your specific retail locations, the POS device will automatically display product translations configured in your POS channel. The translated products will appear throughout your device as well as the printed and emailed receipts. How awesome is that? So not only can you have an in-person, you can have an online store, you can have a in-person location, but then what if you traveled with your online location? You're just fulfilling orders and you just mainly can do a lot of things from maybe an iPad. And if you are selling to customers and introducing to customers in local languages and you turn your iPad around to show them the product or show them the price and it's another language, that could be a huge issue. So when you're trying to create business partnerships and you're trying to meet new people across the world, you can now translate the POS device into the language of the potential partner, into the language of the potential customer, and that just opens up a lot of possibilities. It really helps create new ideas for where your business can go. It's awesome. Okay, we have a very complicated update here that is very not beginner friendly. April 25th, we're talking about multiple things. We're talking about Flow, Shopify Flow, we're talking about meta fields, and we're talking about code. which is all very complicated and is not very beginner friendly. But essentially within the Shopify flow, you can now access typed meta fields. You can now access individual typed meta fields in the flow. So within this update, I see a lot of things. Obviously, we're talking about Shopify Flow, which is not a very beginner friendly app, but is useful to a lot of different businesses. We're talking about meta fields, and meta fields is a huge topic. Meta fields and meta objects, huge topic. Unlimited implementation, not very beginner friendly. Few beginner friendly ways of using meta fields, like using drop downs, product page specific informations and drop downs, for example. But meta fields and meta objects is such a huge topic. It's like trying to learn about code and liquid. As we see down here, we see some liquid. So we're talking about meta fields, flow, and liquid, which is very not beginner friendly. And these are things that are very tertiary down the line and not something that you should be worrying about if you're a beginner entrepreneur. But if we want to educate ourselves a little bit, we can. So Shopify Flow is a Shopify made and developed app that helps you automate tasks, much like email marketing automations work. Within the free Shopify made and developed app, you'll see a flow. It starts off with a trigger, and then you can say, if this trigger does this, do this. If that doesn't complete, send an email. If this is an order, send me an invoice. If the order contains this, put the tracking number in this Excel Google sheet. It's a huge topic, and it's very hard to teach about because it's such an unlimited amount of things that it can do that can be helpful for your specific business, or it might just complicate things and is not needed at all. So then there's meta fields, and meta fields are just a way of adding very custom variables. Everything you see on your Shopify page and your Shopify product is just code with variables. The product title is a variable that you put the product title in the product title page, and that variable is then displayed in the proper section on your product page. Meta fields and meta objects are ways of creating specific variables, and you can use these for anything. There's easy ways to use meta fields and very complicated ways of using meta fields. And then we're talking about codes, which is a whole other topic that you really don't need to know too much about. Like, I run multiple Shopify stores. I've been doing it for such a long time. I don't know very much at all about code. And I think the way all of these business hosting platforms like Shopify are transitioning is they're making it more accessible to everyone. They want everyone to be able to run and operate their own business, and you don't need to know anything about code to do that. However, everything that you do see is technically code. So learning a little bit about code can help, and that's why it always kind of comes up. But essentially, the very short update here is that you can now check meta field values more easily in the Flow app. So each resource, whether it's a product or an order, has a new meta field. When you choose a meta field, you can select from a list of known meta fields for that resource, the product resource, the order resource, and it looks like this. This is kind of what it looks like when you're adding a meta field. And then in the Flow app, you have the flow over here, and then these are your variables essentially. So if you go to the Shopify API and the orders, we see the new, in this example, shipping meta field, which can be found here. There's another smaller update here at the bottom that says you can now add, for example, the product name to a product reference meta field and not just the meta field information. So if you had like a recipe meta field for a product, you'll now be able to get the reference for the product recipe meta field, but also using the product's title right here. And then there's some more information here about why they're doing this and how this piece of liquid code was kind of redundant, and the new way of doing things would avoid this kind of loop that's needed. Not very beginner friendly, but again, just kind of, if you've never heard about these things like Shopify Flow before, or meta fields before, liquid before, just getting introduced to what these are can go a long way in the future. Constant education is kind of what we're all about on this channel. So that's just the update there, and introducing 3 big, very complicated topics for now. All right, so another improvement here to the POS, you can now check out shipping orders in the cart. So there's improvements of building and checking out shipping orders in the POS. So we have a little bit more larger explanation here for this POS improvement. But essentially, in the POS, there is an option called ship to customer. When you're making an order, you can select ship to customer. And then before this update, if you were creating the order or needed to edit the order or the products or the quantity or the address, you could not do it, as you cannot exit exited the cart until the purchase was completed. They've now changed this a little bit, and there's some more information down here that I don't think is super relevant to the improvement. But if you're creating a ship to customer order within the POS, you're going to have a little bit more flexibility and when editing orders and using that workflow for that cart. Okay, we're back to Shopify Forms. I love Shopify Forms. Haven't seen it in so long. Like we were talking about, so we were talking about the Shopify Forms update down here below, and now we have just another feature. Since they were working on forms, they added another thing, it seems. So it says all existing forms can be duplicated in Shopify Forms. So Shopify Forms now supports duplication to speed up implementation. That's very straightforward. We have the update here. So it says whether you need to use similar forms across different pages or want to create a modified version of a previously used form, you can now save time and effort by duplicating a previous form and using it as a starting point. This ensures consistency in your forms and allows for easy replication of successfully formed structures. And then what is it exactly duplicating? Well, it duplicates and retains original fields, settings, and configurations, but can be edited to suit specific needs for its new case. This means you can maintain the elements that work well while tweaking those that need to be customized for a new purpose. This is called optimization. Yeah, anything within the Shopify platform, whether it's an order or a customer or anything like that, usually in the top right there is a duplicate or a button. And so now it looks like that functionality wasn't on forms, and now they're adding the duplication feature on forms. However, this is interesting because when you're using forms and pop-ups, you don't want too many. There's a really fine balance here, and you really have to make sure these forms aren't exhausting the customer on their shopping experience. That's why on the forms or any app that you're using, there is always a time how long you want the customer to be on your page scrolling around before the form pops up, because you spend a lot of work on your first impressions and your first banner pages when they first enter the store. But then if this giant banner pops up, then the customer's just looking at this banner and they usually click the X. And then if they scroll down and they get another banner, they can just bounce from the website. Or if they land on your product page because you have a sale and a form pops up right in their way and they have to click away, they might just bounce and go somewhere else. So implementing the time that you want the form to appear is a whole discussion on its own, because obviously a form is used to capture critical customer email address information. And so of course you want it to be there, or do you? You have to balance out how eager you want that, how well your customer experience is and your UX is looking on your website, and all these things. If you're creating multiple forms, that's where duplication maybe can come in. Or if you're running different campaigns where an offer is no longer available and you want to update the campaign from the form, you can now duplicate it and work with it that way. I really love forms. I mean, it's just such a critical component of e-commerce. So if you don't use it, look into it. It's free. Anyone can use it. April 26th, we have a new Shop Pay feature for customers. Default address settings. Shop Pay now allows users to set a default shipping address. This is a new feature at checkout. This is one of those things where it's like, it's not a new thing that no one has ever seen on the internet, but they're just adding it to their own Shop Pay product. So it says customers can use Shop Pay. Customers using Shop Pay can now set a default address for a more streamlined checkout experience. Default addresses are automatically pre-selected during the Shop Pay checkout process, effectively minimizing order cancellations caused by wrong shipping addresses. If a customer wants to update their default address, they can do so by going to the Shop app. Pretty straightforward there. We have another new feature here for this time for the POS. It says return rules in the POS. There's a new structured return rules to expedite the return process for the POS. Okay, so this is fun. Return rules isn't a new feature. Return rules are in the Shopify admin, but once again, we're seeing a lot of admin settings move over right into the POS. So it says in version 9.8 of the Shopify POS app, we've added return rules in POS. Return rules are structured policies for returns that can now be used whether the return happens in store or a self-serve online. It says return rules are a great way to ensure consistency and accuracy when processing returns, which in turn helps reduce demand on staff to make decisions and builds trust between customers and your brand. So a couple examples of this are the return window, how long things are eligible for returns, and then like final sale or clearance items. Say if it's a final sale or a clearance item and it can't be returned, you can set that return rule for those products. And so if somebody tries to open the self-serve return workflow from their customer account and they buy something that is outside the return window, say like 14 days or 30 days, they won't be able to do so. Or if they bought something that was clearly marked as clearance or final sale at checkout and they know this and they try to return it, they'll say it it will say, based on your return rule configurations within your admin, now within your POS as well, they won't be able to return that. And so this just helps facilitate stronger communication between customer and merchant and business, and helps determine the product eligibility for returns and those sort of things. Okay, second last one of the month. We have an improvement here to the markets, and again, using the keyword meta fields that we were talking about. So it says market meta fields are available as a dynamic source in the online store editor. The online store editor now supports market meta fields as a dynamic source. It says the online store editor now supports market meta fields as a dynamic source. This update allows merchants to seamlessly integrate market meta fields into their storefronts, enhancing the customization and functionality of their online stores for different markets. So again, we have a couple key terms here. So we have markets, meta fields, and then dynamic source, and then the online store theme editor. So obviously the online store editor is where you edit your website, and then the markets means when you're selling to different countries or customers, you can make different markets from your market setting. The meta fields are products, are page specific information like we learned about. These are variables that you can create. A meta field is a custom variable that you make for a specific purpose. And then the dynamic source here is just how you connect it from your admin settings to your in-store theme editor. So you can do this in a lot of ways: product meta fields, image meta fields, all these kind of things. But it looks like they've now added the improvement of adding market-specific meta fields. So if you have market-specific information on your storefront, you can now add market-specific meta fields, connect them with a dynamic source in your online store editor in order to help facilitate conversions for your market. Look at that. We have a special treat here on May 1st. They snuck one in May 1st. I'm going to cover this one as well. And we'll pick this up from May 1st next month. So if you've enjoyed the video and you're still watching, consider subscribing, because I do this video every month. I find it very key to success when running your Shopify store. So we have a new feature in the admin for the search and discovery app, one of the best apps Shopify has. So it says new storefront filters now includes better support for images. The Shopify search and discovery app includes better support for filter images, including icons, logos, and other detailed imagery. So it's a very small paragraph, but this is actually quite a complex topic. So it says visual filters now have better support for images, search and discovery, helping customers quickly understand different filter options and find the products that interest them most. This will allow merchants to better display icons, logos, and detailed imagery within their filters. So the search and discovery app is a free, made and developed Shopify app, search and discovery app. This helps a lot of back-end stuff, like adding filters to your storefront, helping display the correct products that are displayed and in which order when a customer searches something on your storefront, adding synonyms to search words so that the right product will come up and then in the right order. Search and Discovery app is a super powerful tool. It has a lot of features within it. So the new update here is that storefront filters now includes better support for images. So a couple months ago, they added the ability to add color swatches to search and discovery app. So that's a perfect example of what they're saying here, is that a color swatch is essentially a filter, but with an image. So, you go to the top and you can filter things by whatever you want: size, by the word, color, by material, by bestseller, and all these types of things. You can now search by, say, color swatches. So instead of picking the word black or blue, you can click the color image icon, display icon, logo, detailed imagery with their filters. Now, this sounds super easy. However, there are a lot of requirements for this. And you have to have kind of a theme that enables this to work. And then it also involves creating meta fields, and not only meta fields, but meta objects. So that's a little bit trickier of a process. And honestly, it might even be more beginner friendly just to maybe use a theme that already has that built in. But that's the last update here. But that's it, guys. Another month done, another month closer to your e-commerce dreams. Look at that. Thank you for watching. I really do truly enjoy making this video series once a month at the beginning of each month. I love when the beginning of the month comes around because we can all come together and learn from each other's experiences and grow towards our dreams all together. It's really exciting for me, and I love to see how much it is helping all of you. So if you're still watching and you want to subscribe to the channel for this monthly series, that subscribe button is free. Join the Shopify community and continue all the hard work. You guys are doing great with your online stores, I am sure, because you're watching this video and you want to keep learning and you have the correct mindset for success. So if this video has helped you, make sure you leave a like so I know that it has helped, as I just love helping fellow entrepreneurs as we're all chasing the same dreams. And if you really like to subscribe, if you do, I will see you next video.